It's 8:43 in the morning, and you're sitting in the same gray cubicle you've sat in for the last 4 years, holding a paper coffee cup that cost you $2.75, and there is exactly $1,200,000,000 sitting in a private banking account with your name on it. Nobody in this building knows. Not the woman 2 desks over who microwaves fish every Tuesday. Not the IT guy. Not your manager who is right now walking toward you with that look on his face, the one that means he's about to ask why the quarterly report is late. And you smile and say, "Almost done, sorry about that," because you could buy the entire floor of this office, the lease, the chairs, the man's salary for the rest of his natural life, and instead you are apologizing about a spreadsheet. This is the strangest power you will ever feel, the kind nobody can see. Let me back up. 3 weeks ago your life was ordinary in the way most lives are ordinary. You had $41,000 in checking, a car with 112,000 miles on it, and a vague plan to maybe someday retire at 65. Then the money came. Doesn't matter how, an inheritance from a relative you barely knew, a settlement, a single insane bet that paid off, a lottery ticket bought on a whim. The mechanism is irrelevant. What matters is the number, and the number is so large it stopped feeling like money the moment you saw it. $1 billion is not a bigger version of 41,000. It's a different substance entirely. 41,000 is a thing you spend. A billion is a thing you survive. And here is the first decision, the one that defines everything that follows. You did not quit. You walked into that office the next Monday like nothing had happened, because somewhere deep in your gut you understood something most people never get the chance to learn, that the second you tell anyone, you stop being a person and become a target, a resource. A thing to be managed, courted, resented, and eventually drained. The moment the word billionaire attaches to your name, every relationship in your life gets recalculated. So you say nothing. You become the richest invisible man in the building. The first month is about discipline, and discipline is harder than you'd think when you're carrying a secret this heavy. The temptation is everywhere. You're at lunch and a coworker complains he can't afford the down payment on a house, and you feel the words rising in your throat. I could cover that and never notice, and you swallow them. You wear the same 4 shirts you've always worn. You keep driving the car with the check engine light that's been on since spring. You learn that wealth, real wealth, is silent by nature. The loud money, the rented Lamborghinis and the flashed Rolexes, that's the money of people performing wealth. You have the opposite problem. You have to perform poverty, or at least normalcy. You have to remember to wince at the price of parking. But the secret does something to you internally, and this is the part nobody tells you about. It rewires how you experience every small humiliation. Your boss raises his voice in the Thursday meeting, tells the team the budget's getting cut, that everyone needs to do more with less. 6 months ago that sentence would have tightened your chest, kept you up at night, made you refresh the job listings at midnight. Now you sit there with a face of perfect concern, nodding, and inside there is a stillness so deep it's almost holy. You are untouchable. Whatever he can do to you, fire you, demote you, freeze your raise, none of it reaches you. The fear that ran your whole life, the low constant hum of what if I lose this job, it's just gone. And you realize, sitting in that fluorescent lit room, that the thing you were really afraid of all those years was never the work. It was the dependence. You set up the structure quietly. A private bank, the kind that doesn't have branches, the kind you reach through a single phone number and a man named Marcus who calls you sir and means it. You move the money into a trust, into index funds, into things that grow while you sleep. And here's a number that breaks your brain a little. At a conservative 4% return, your billion generates around $40 million a year. That's $109,000 a day. You earn more before your alarm goes off than you used to earn in 2 years of full-time work. While you're stuck in traffic, you make $11,000. While your boss explains the new expense report policy, you make another $4,000. So why are you still here? People ask this in their heads when they imagine the fantasy, the second I'm rich, I'm gone. But you've started to understand something they haven't. The job is your camouflage. It's the most expensive disguise money could buy, except it's free, and it pays you. As long as you show up, swipe your badge, and complain about traffic, you remain a person nobody looks at twice. The anonymity is the asset, and you're about to learn just how powerful that invisibility really is, because the first real opportunity to use it is coming, and it's wearing the face of the man who just told you your report was late. By the time the first year rolls around, you've gotten good at this. Disturbingly good. The upgrades come, but they come the way water seeps into stone, slowly, invisibly, deniably. You replace the dying car, but not with the Aston Martin you spent one entire lunch break configuring online. You buy a 3-year-old Toyota with low mileage, the kind of car that says responsible adult, the kind nobody comments on except to say it's a good choice. You move apartments, but you tell everyone you got a deal, that the landlord's a family friend, that you're house-sitting basically. Nobody questions a deal. People love a deal. It makes them feel like the world is fair. The trick you've mastered is the cover story. Every single thing you own now travels with a small, plausible lie attached, a little narrative airbag that absorbs the impact of the truth. The watch, you tell Corinne from accounting, it was your grandfather's. It was not. It cost more than the building you both work in is insured for. The vacation you took, the one where you flew first class for the first time in your life and the flight attendant called you by name, you tell the office it was a points thing. You'd been saving miles for years. You've discovered that human beings will believe almost any explanation as long as it keeps the world the size they're comfortable with. People don't want to discover a billionaire in the next cubicle. It would force them to ask why they're still there. So they help you hide. They do half the work for you. And then there are the quiet, secret pleasures, the ones you'll never tell a soul. You start paying things forward in ways that can't be traced back. The single mom on your team mentions her kid needs braces she can't afford, and 3 weeks later her dental plan mysteriously expands its coverage. A clerical miracle she never questions, because who questions good news? You overhear the janitor, the man who empties your bin at 6 every evening, talking on the phone about a hospital bill. That bill gets paid by an anonymous donor. You watch him the next morning, the way his shoulders sit different, lighter, and you say nothing. You just nod good morning, and the secret of it sits in your chest warm as a coal. This is a thing nobody tells you about real money, that the deepest pleasure isn't in the having. It's in the giving that nobody can clap for. Wealth performed is hollow. Wealth hidden is the closest thing to actual magic a person can hold. Then comes the day it gets personal, and personal is where the story turns. The company starts struggling, bad leadership, a market they didn't see coming, layoffs, and your boss, the same man who spent 4 years making you apologize for spreadsheets, calls you into the glass conference room on a Tuesday at 4 in the afternoon and tells you with rehearsed sympathy that your position is being eliminated. He slides a folder across the table. Severance. 2 months. He actually says the words, "I know this is hard." And you sit there and you feel the old reflex flicker, the panic that used to live in your spine, and then it dissolves because you already know what you're about to do. You sign the papers. You thank him. You take your box of one framed photo and a dead succulent down the elevator. And then you call Marcus. The company is privately held. It's bleeding. It can be bought. And over the next 4 months, through a holding entity with a name like a law firm, a shell behind a trust, you acquire it, quietly. The man who fired you doesn't know who the new ownership is. Owners like that never show their face, that's the whole point. Your first instruction to the new board isn't revenge. You don't fire him. That's the loud move, the small move. Instead, you restructure. You reverse the layoffs. You fund the dental plan you'd been secretly patching, except now it's policy. And you let the man keep his job, reporting up a chain that ends, though he will never know it, at you. You see him in the lobby once after, and he holds the door for you, this stranger he laid off, and says, "Take care of yourself." And you do. You never go back to a desk. But you keep a version of the disguise forever, because you've learned the anonymity isn't a phase, it's the architecture of the whole life. Total financial independence without a single soul recalculating who you are. You still wear the unremarkable jacket. You still let people think you got a deal. The billion has become 2, then more, multiplying in the dark while you sleep, while you stand in line for coffee like anyone. And sometimes on a gray morning you catch your reflection in the glass of an office window, just an ordinary person holding a $2.75 cup. But behind the glass, faint, you can almost see it. The jet, the watch, the empire none of them will ever know your name owns. You smile. You take a sip. Nobody looks twice. And that, you finally understand, was always the richest thing you could be, the man who has everything, and the discipline to let the world believe he has nothing at all.